What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This time I'm here with my new updated stamp stork build for the Lost Depths chapter. Let's go ahead and get into the buffed stats here for you. Here's the front bar. And here's our back. We're putting 64 points in the stamina on this build. We're running the Lady Mundus, and I'll get into that later in the video. We're using bewitched sugar skulls for our food. We're also an Imperial. Some of the potions we're going to want to use are tripods. I have the crown tripods. You're going to want to movability pots. These ones, they give you the health, stamina, movability. You can use these ones for expedition. That's optional. Get into the sets here. Very simple setup. We're not running any mythics on this build. We're using Stuhns on the front bar. It's a Nirnhund maul. It's going to give us a line of weapon and spell damage, pen, weapon and spell damage, and then it's going to give us increased pen to enemies that are off balance. We're using Dizzy Swing on this build a lot, so definitely going to come in clutch. We're backbarring the Vateshrans Ice Staff. Defending. Weakness to elements. It's going to put a dot on them. Going to get stronger by 1% for each tick. I'll show you why we're using that. For Monster Helm, we're using Bloodspawn. Ideally, you're going to want a heavy helm and a light shoulder. The light shoulder ideally should be inpen. I do not have an inpen at this time. So you want those two pieces to be inpen. Bloodspawn's going to give us a line of stam recovery. It's going to give us some ultimate and a little more resistance. So we're using this crafted set, Serpents Disdain. It's going to give us a line of stamina, health, mag. Increase the duration of status effects we apply by 16 seconds. Now, the reason we're using that is because we're using the Vateshrans Ice Staff. It's going to do flame, shock, or frost damage every second on them while it's on. And the duration is going to increase with this set. Also, the skill that we're using with that is elemental susceptibility. We're not using LE drain. This is the other morph. This is going to put major breach on them also, but every 6 seconds while the enemy while the ability persists, the enemy is going to be afflicted with burning, chilled, or concussion status effect. So that is going to go in very well with our Vateshrans Ice Staff and Serpents Disdain. And it's going to put in a lot of pressure on the enemy. So while we're in here, I'll go ahead and go over our skills. On the back bar, we're rocking Dark Deal, Resolving Vigor, Hurricane, Elemental Susceptibility, Ball of Lightning. You could run Streak, but I think since we're already pretty squishy on this build, Ball of Lightning is going to be a little better. And for the ultimate, it's kind of your choice. I just have the atro on there. There is some perks to having the atro. It's going to give us a little more health when we activate it. You can run Eye of the Storm, which with Ice Staff, again, it's going to be nice with the Serpents Disdain. It's going to be, keeping chilled, which will increase your crit damage. You could run the Gate. One thing you want to make sure is, though, that you do not put any points in the Trifocus. By not doing this, blocking with your Ice Staff is still going to cost stamina. And that's what we want. The stamina pool is going to be higher than our mag pool. If you put points into this, then you're going to be struggling with your mag sustain. On the front bar, running Executioner. Camo Hunter from the Fighters Guild. Haunting Curse from Daedric Summoning Line. Dizzy Swing. And Rally. So basically the combo is, you keep yourself buffed up. First thing you want to do, run up on somebody, put the LE drain on them. You'll see the proc for the Vateshrans. Switch to the front bar, throw a Haunting Curse on them, and then go in for a Dizzy Swing. And when you set them off balance, you'll get the extra pen, and everything is going to hit a lot harder. So to go with our Stuhns, I'm running the CP Exploiter, which you can see how I got to it. It's right here in this top right corner. You got to go into this purple one, and it's up here. Increased damage done against off-balance enemies. This is pretty much going to be every single person that you fight on this build, because Dizzy Swing is going to be your main spammable. So 10% increased damage. You can see where I filled in the rest of the points here. I went into the magic side because, again, we're using Curse. We're using the Vateshran Ice Staff. It's doing magic damage, and then the physical damage side of things there. A little bit more pen in the middle here. We're using Swift Renewal. It's going to increase our healing done with healing over time effects by 10%. This applies to our Dark Deal. This applies to our Vigor. Again, we're using Exploiter. We're using Deadly Aim. Increased damage done with single target attacks by 6%. This is going to have to do with our Haunting Curse. Haunting Curse is kind of like, it's kind of an AoE, but it is a single target ability. You can only put it on one person at a time. It's going to increase our Dizzy Swing damage. So I really like Deadly Aim. You could play around with this. You could go with Master at Arms. But I've been hitting like a truck with Deadly Aim. And then I put Ironclad on. Reduce our direct damage attacks by 6% damage reduction. So really nice to have. Direct damage is pretty much anything. Over in the red tree, I really like running Slippery. It's gonna be like an auto break free. If you're trying to fight outnumbered, this is really, really nice to have. Sustained by Suffering. The more, when we have negative effects on us, we're gonna have 150 health mag and stam recovery. Very nice to have. Pain's Refuge. Gonna give us a 20% damage reduction for every 2 negative effects. Or, no, I read that wrong. It's gonna be 2% for every 2 effects, up to 20%. Up to 20%. Correcting myself there. And Celerity. Celerity runs really, really well with Stam Sorc. It's already a fast class, but the 10% extra movement speed you get from this is very nice. Another option you could go with, if you feel like you don't need Slippery, I really like this CP over here, Bastion. Increases the effectiveness of damage shields and damage against shielded enemies. So, believe it's 15%, yes. This is really nice to have if you're fighting, other Sorcs, or I guess anybody in a light armor build that's hitting like Harness Magicka, and they have like some kind of ward on them. Even Wardens, they get a full ward from spamming the crystallized slab. So this will give you 15% more damage against them when they have that ward up. Very nice to have. Something to consider. You can see where I filled in the rest of the points here. Reduced my sprint cost. Reduce the cost of blocking and bashing. Extra line of health there. Roll dodge. In the green tree, I always run the same thing in the green tree. I don't really see too many people go over to green tree, but it's very effective. There's actually some very effective things to use in PvP. like Rationer. So the Rationer will stack on top of the perks from provisioning. So you already can get an extra added duration to your food from provisioning line, but this will just add another 30 minutes to it, which is really nice, especially if you're running gold food. You know, it's not cheap, so every minute counts. Liquid efficiency is pretty nice to have. 10% chance to not consume a pot. I do war mount. So like if you're like me, I'm pretty bad at with my mount speed. Once I get it to 60, like I don't continue to put points in the stamina. Well, I mean, this is pretty nice. As long as you have this up, you'll never run out of stamina. Of course, until you get hit, then your stamina will start to drain. And then Gifted Rider is an extra 10% mount speed. This stacks with the perk from the assault line. Continuous attack. You get Major Gallop. That'll increase your mount speed by 30%, so it'll be 40% with that on there. It does stack. It's very nice. Ultimate on the front bar, I don't think I said, was Dawnbreaker of Smiting. That just seems to be the best in slot ultimate for this. I don't have it morphed and I haven't used it yet, but Onslaught would probably be pretty good too. But if you decide to go that route, I would switch out the maul for a sword to go for more damage, because if you're using Onslaught, you're just going to ignore the resistance anyway. And plus we're using Stuhns, so it kind of defeats the purpose of Stuhns. So I would definitely just stick with Dawnbreaker of Smiting. Yeah, like I said, we are an Imperial for this build. The reason I chose Imperial, you get a line of health, line of stam, and it reduced the cost of all abilities by 6%. The sustain on this build is amazing. You know, right now I'm using Bewitched Sugar Skulls. It's like tri-stat and then health recovery. I feel like that's good enough. Like the extra pools of, you know, mag and stam is really, really nice. I don't have a problem sustaining at all, even in battlegrounds, without like the extra champion points and all that extra health and stuff that's added. My sustain and damage is really, really nice in this build. The only downside to this build, like I said before, it is pretty squishy. I haven't experimented with it yet, but you might want to consider becoming a vampire and going stage 3, so you can get that damage reduction in the perk for vampire. It's kind of why I'm running lady. I would say that if I was vampire stage 3 with the undeath passive, I would probably drop the lady and go for the warrior Mundus, just try to stack that damage even more. But yeah, that's my build for Lost Depths, Stam Sorc, kind of like a hybrid Sorc, I guess you can call it, but mostly Stam Sorc. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of the build. Be sure to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Peace.